Hello, Advanced Wealth Strategies family. Leah McDonald here, certified financial planner and president of Advanced Wealth Strategies. I am with Jeremy.lopatin, and he is with EOS. And if you're a business owner, you've probably heard of EOS, but maybe you don't really know what it is. So that's where we're going to start today, because as a business owner, I have been just beyond intrigued with EOS and Jeremy and what he does and how he can help business owners, myself included. And so I am really excited to bring Jeremy to your attention today and have him give us some education and also a special offering for business owners. So let's get going. Jeremy, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's really
Yeah,
great to be
great.
here.
Good to have you. Let's first talk about the benefits that you bring to business owners. So, when people are using EOS, which maybe we'll start there, what does EOS stand for? And
Sure.
what is the benefit of using EOS to business owners?
Right. So EOS stands for the Entrepreneurial Operating System. And it is very simply a system of practical, simple tools and disciplines stitched together in a system, an operating system, that business owners and leaders can use just to most broadly, you can think about it as like harmonizing and orchestrating all of the moving parts and human energy that's poured into a business, right? Because ultimately,
Yeah,
we want to help business owners like run a better business and ultimately live a better life, right? That's our goal.
yeah. Well, and it's interesting because as business owners, especially with like small business owners, we set up systems and processes for the things that we do, but we don't really have a system or a process about running our business, which is
Yeah,
where EOS lands
yeah,
and
that's
where
right.
that is the problem solving
I
that
mean,
comes into play.
right. The fact of the matter is that um, lots of people wind up in business because they had an idea or a passion or maybe some intellectual property or whatever, and that's great. But and they built a business around it. It doesn't mean that they ever actually learned how to run a business well and effectively
Yeah.
and in a way that like can support a happy, healthy life for themselves, right? And a lot of
Yes.
business owners walk around carrying that weight, you know?
So when somebody's working with you and with EOS, what common, yeah, let me say issues, because that's an EOS word, not problems, but issues. What are some
Right.
common issues that
Yeah.
EOS and you can help business owners solve?
Right. Yeah. I mean, uh, we do a lot of things. I mean, at the broadest level, excuse me, we help business owners and their leadership teams get better at three main things, right? We call it vision, traction, and healthy. Vision is just getting everybody, starting with the leadership team, but ultimately over the whole company, 100% on the same page with where the company is going and how it's going to get there, right? And then traction is simply instilling discipline and accountability throughout the organization, right? And then lastly, healthy is just helping the leadership team and ultimately the whole company come together as a group of people who are, cohesive, functional, fun-loving, enjoy working together, right?
I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
I
But
love that.
so we deal with sometimes very like fundamental things, everything from helping companies understand their core values and
Mhm.
to understanding like what's the right structure for the business, and how do we make sure, we end up with all the right people in all the right seats, and how can we even evaluate that, right? And on and on. There's a variety of different areas that we touch. But,
Yeah, that's something you and I have had conversations
oh
about,
yeah,
right? People,
yeah,
wrong seats, and just
totally.
really kind of that outward perspective. Because sometimes as business owners, I think that we are so in it that
Yeah,
we have a hard time stepping back and looking at it from a different perspective, which I believe someone like yourself offers. Do
yeah,
you find yourself working with a certain type of person, a certain field of work, size of a business? Like, who
sure.
do you
Yeah, it's a
best
great
serve?
That's a great question. So really, EOS is subject matter agnostic, right? If you want to think about it, that, any business that is growth oriented, business owners that are open-minded and like coachable, right? Like you've got to fundamentally be willing to hear things from outside of your bubble and be receptive. But I've got clients. I came out of the marketing agency world, and so a lot of my
Yeah.
clients are marketing agencies, but maybe half, and then the rest are all over the map, right? Like environmental consulting firms or whatever. So it doesn't really matter the subject matter because every business, as long as you have humans that work in the business, have very similar issues, right? They break down into six key areas. We call them the six key components of the business. Um, and so it doesn't really matter the type of business. The size, we find our sweet spot. EOS, I have run
Sure.
businesses starting at one person. That was one of mine, all the way through to 250 people is usually kind of the top end of the scale, but 10 to 250 employees is the sweet spot for a good place to start with EOS, working with a professional implementer like myself.
And they can be anywhere in the US,
They
right? I
can,
mean,
yeah. I
this,
mean,
okay,
I'm one of, I think, like 850 implementers around the world. Like we're working with organizations in 40 different countries. So we've reached a certain, critical mass and scale and continue to grow pretty substantially. EOS actually
great.
started in Livonia, of all places. Gino Wickman
Go
wrote a
Michigan.
no, right? And so there are like the most companies that run on EOS kind of per
hmm
capita are found in southeastern Michigan, which is pretty cool, but it's spread to, like I said, 40 countries at this point.
Well, and it's interesting. I've known Jeremy for a while now, but he most recently became my neighbor down the hall of
Yeah,
our
that's
Ann
right.
Arbor office. And so what's been fun is oftentimes me running into people that I know that are business owners or on leadership teams that are going into Jeremy's office to either meet with him or other implementers that are within that office and being like, oh, you use EOS. Oh, your company uses EOS. So it's been really interesting for me to gain a better understanding of how many really successful organizations that I'm aware of that are working with you and using the tools. And speaking of tools, we've got a couple offers. I know you mentioned the books and then how somebody could get started with you. So,
Yeah,
Jeremy, to
sure.
kind of end, let's
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about some takeaways
If
for the
anybody,
US people here.
I'm happy, to share with anybody 90-minute overview of EOS. It's a sort of a consultative experience. We kind of go back and forth. It's a fire hose of information, but we also talk about the issues and other things facing the business and just help kind of get a real solid understanding of like what EOS is. That's totally complimentary, and it's a pleasure, a thrill, honestly, for me to do those. Um, for people who are just curious or interested to learn more about EOS but don't want to take that step, um, EOS is based on, the foundation of EOS is written down in the book Traction by Gino Wickman. He's the founder of EOS, and I give those out like candy, right? That book changed my life and the way I viewed businesses and the way I run businesses. And if anybody even just wants a free copy of that, reach out to me. I'm happy to drop one in the mail for you. Um, but I love meeting with business owners and just, comparing notes, sharing experiences, talking about issues and how we can make them better. You know.
And I feel like you had a big slice of humble pie this morning because that 90-minute overview is life changing. I hear you on the book, but so is that 90 minutes. Like going through that process with you was just so eye-opening and it just everything made sense. And the way you present it and the way you lay it out and the questions that you ask are so thoughtful and are so encompassing of all of the pieces that a business owner knows or doesn't know. Like it just puts it all together. And so I
Right.
highly, highly recommend anybody that's a business owner that's listening to this to at minimum take advantage of that offer
Yeah.
because I think you will find that there is a ton of value in gaining more awareness on why this works. And again, if you think about all the systems, all the processes that you're putting in place for your business, but if you don't have one on how to run your business, that's where EOS can really bring a lot of value to your life. So I am just so hopeful that all the business owners here are listening and taking notes and reaching out to you, Jeremy, because you are incredible at what you do. Thank you for being here and thank you for the special offer for those that are listening today.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to speaking with any of you out there who are running or leading a business.
Bye for now, everyone.
See you, gang.